Recently, I've started going to university, and it's been something. And as I've been studying more, I've also been listening to more and more music, including, well, Nightcore. I've been listening to it for years now, and it feels weird saying this because the genre, if you can call it that, has a pretty bad reputation. But first of all, what is Nightcore and how did it arguably become the most hated type of music in the world? Nightcore was a term coined by a Norwegian duo of the same name. At the time, it primarily referred to fast-paced or higher-pitched electronic music. Even though it started off as a club/dance music, its purpose, to make music happier, remains to this day. When we think of Nightcore nowadays, what comes to mind is typically high-pitched, high-tempo pop posted with some anime girl. Even when starting out, anime girls were associated with the pseudo-genre due to the high-pitched vocals which reminded many of anime girls. One of the first to popularize this was Nightcore Rockefeller Street, and it quickly blew up among a certain type of person. But as it started becoming more well-known, hate for the genre started to grow as well. For one, I'm saying this as someone who listens to it, Nightcore is pretty cringe. Oftentimes, especially old school Nightcore, were poorly edited songs stolen from popular artists. Although this was somewhat changed over time, sometimes the original artists wouldn't even be credited. All people did was change the pitch and increase the tempo or speed of a song someone else spent weeks or months making, and slap it on top of some anime girl, maybe even just some screenshot from an anime. I remember people often comparing Nightcore vocals to sounding like Alvin and the Chipmunks at the time, and admittedly some of them were pretty annoying. I have no idea what I'm going to use as an example, but here's an example of a old school Nightcore song. At least when looking at more modern Nightcore now, a lot of effort is sometimes made into editing the video well, giving credit to the original artists, and actually making them sound good with more complex sound editing like adding bass and the like. I personally believe that the best kind of Nightcore are those that still have realistic vocal ranges, but just add a bit more speed that the original song otherwise lacks. Some argue that Nightcore actually helps artists out by making the song more well-known, which leads to more people checking out the original, but this is of course extremely debatable. However, I feel as though nowadays some Nightcore is honestly pretty decent. A lot of us started listening to the genre when we were pre-teens or teens, and now that we're older, we either still haven't grown out of this phase just yet, or are just returning to our old playlists for nostalgia. I feel like people's issues with the genre are justified. To be fair, it is arguably built around using other people's art. Still, as long as people are not monetizing the remixes, giving appropriate credit, and not blatantly clickbaiting, sometimes not complaining though, I don't have many issues with it. Nightcore was created to make songs happier and more fun, and that's ultimately why I still listen to it to this day. It's just feel-good music, so I'm not ashamed to say that a lot of times I think the Nightcore version is actually better than the original. The Nightcore community is still going strong after all. Music should be enjoyable, and Nightcore is one way to achieve this end. This is my second music-themed video, and I plan to do more on more obscure genres in the future. I personally love the music genre rabbit hole, and hopefully I'll be able to make more soon. So, as always, just thank you all so much for watching.